Hi, I'm Christopher Stewart. Probably the most difficult of all productions that I worked on for me to talk about is probably the one I should talk about the most, which is always sometimes the case, I guess. I don't mean anything by it. I loved the people I worked with. I had so much fun in Germany. I really enjoyed the full cast and had so much fun on this. The production is called Young Torless. If you've never seen it, it's a wonderful production. And maybe the best way to explain it is why it's so difficult to talk about. When I had the script in my hands, I was working with Boris Karloff, and Boris was teaching me German and helping me memorize the script in German. I'm terrible with German. It's the worst language for me because it goes in one ear and out the other. My retention is like 0. I mean, I literally had to have the cast constantly remind me of how to pronounce it and how to say it. A few of my cast members were laughing at me because they would sit there and try and correct how I was pronouncing it because I was doing it kind of like a hard snap of a German, and they were trying to soften it to make it more believable, more like someone who lived in Germany instead of someone who's like an American going, yeah, I've seen German films, let's try this. So and I had so much fun working with them. But Boris found me crying when I was looking at the script, and he said, what's wrong? And I said, this film is fantastic. It's the production that my parents, my brothers would watch, my godmother would watch. They'd love every minute of it. They'd quote lines from it. They'd share it with their friends. They'd enjoy every single thing about this production. It's everything that they would watch. It's their type of film. So long as they knew that wasn't me. That still to this day is one of the hardest things about that production, and the hardest things in me and in my life. But to begin with, the director was a survivor of Dachau, and he had a hard time trying to do this production. He had written it as a period piece from before the Kaiser, and he had written it with all of the angst and all of the prejudice and all of the understanding that had happened throughout Germany from the 1800s, 1900s up until almost present day kind of thing. He had written the full script back in the 60s, and he had tried to do the film then, and they wouldn't let him do it because he lived in West Germany and he wanted to film in East Germany. And he's a German. He doesn't understand that he threw up this big wall and now he can't go back home. He was from East Germany and he wanted to film back home, and they wouldn't let him do it. And years went by and years went by and they wouldn't let him do his film. He'd look at people and go, they tell me I could do it if I chose a different location. I don't want to choose a different location. I grew up there. And it's home. It's what I want to shoot. And finally, they gave him the go-ahead in the 80s. And they said, you can go and you can do your film. But you can only do it in a set amount of time. So he was going frantic, trying to find people, trying to get the whole production crew together so that he could do things. And he called up Mario Bava. And he had first said that he wanted Barbara Steele from Black Sunday. And Mario said, well, I have both Christopher and Barb here. They're not really doing anything. Would you like the entire cast of Black Sunday, or most of the cast of Black Sunday? And he went, you're kidding me, really? because Chris is who I wanted to star in my film, but I had no idea who he was or how to get a hold of him, what even country he was in. And they talked with me about it, and I said sure, and we got the whole thing. And then I started working on my German with Boris, and then we found out it was going to be shooting in East Germany, behind the Iron Curtain, in the heart of the Cold War. And that was just amazing. It was literally just like stepping into another world. And it was fun. It was enjoyable. The countryside was beautiful. It was just a beautiful place to work and do film. The area he had picked hadn't changed since like the 1700s, and they literally had just a blast doing this production. And finally, when the whole production was over, I went back to Italy, and he finally got recognized. He got the Magnum Opus Award at Cannes Film Festival. And it was like a dream come true for him, for all of us. We were so happy for him. We were so proud of him for everything. And then when Germany turned around and said that they were going to give me a Golden Cross, one of the first or one of the very few awards that they have designed for their Oscar in film, I was completely taken aback. I was going, really? That's amazing. And that's still sitting in my awards case in Italy right now. And it was just a great time. It really was. I met some wonderful people there. I think the funniest thing was I was dating Dora Pesch at a time later on during the fall of the Berlin Wall back in 89, 90. And we were at the concert of Pink Floyd on the Berlin Wall while they were taking the wall down. And while I was sitting there with Doro, she said, okay, all right, everyone, I'll sign autographs now. Everyone around her said, we'd of course like your autograph, but can we have his? She looks at me and goes, you trying to steal my thunder? I mean, just absolutely hilarious. And the two of us just sat there signing autographs, and then I turn and look at a fellow cast member from Young Torless and go, what about you? You should be signing autographs too. And he starts laughing. He goes, okay, you're right, I probably should. And we just had a blast. We really did. You know, I love everyone from that film. They're just an incredible cast. And I had such a great time with that. But that's Young Torless. So, yeah.